Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Battle video. In this video, we are going to be taking a look at basically the latest Infinite Dragon Ball history stage that has come to DBZ Dokkan Battle. Now this stage essentially is against Peppy Gals. It is 7 turns, I believe, and well, 7 phases. I mean, it can be 7 turns if you bring, a nice, good team. Yeah, it's 7 phases. I think overall, all things considered, it's not super, Infinite Dragon Ball history is not the hardest content in the world. I think it's at a good level of difficulty. I like the difficulty, especially, not saying for, not saying that oh, I enjoy weaker content or anything. I just mean more I think it's a nice casual level of difficulty. I think the category challenges make you take interesting units and you can sort of have a little bit of fun just kind of going through, maybe experiencing some slightly different mechanics in that. So yeah, I think Infinite Dragon Ball history is cool in that way. I think this one with its category missions is pretty simple. It's Earthlings and it is Battle of Wits. So that's obviously something that's pretty interesting. Look, overall, I think it's always, something that a lot of people are, here or thereabouts. I think for some people, you can find these events a bit trivial, a bit not so important. I think for other units or other players, they'll find these things harder or more difficult. These type of events more celebrate, having slightly different units or extending your box a little bit. Like in this one, we need 3 Turtle School units and 3 Battle of Wits units, which is pretty straightforward. You also have to beat the event in 14 turns, but other than that, it's pretty simple. You can use items, so I just use a bomber just to give myself a little bit of extra damage if I want to. But yeah, generally speaking, it's relatively straightforward, I'll say. For the most part, I like IDBH. So for me, this type of event is just up my alley. I can try out different units. It's a lot of fun. Sometimes they're mechanically interesting. So yeah. Now versus Peppy Gals, this consists of 7 phases. Or is it more? It's Bomber Youth, Launch, Ranfran, Chi-Chi, Urine, Kiawai, Ribrianna, Kokunsa, and Rosie, and then Chilai. So it's actually 8 phases. They start out at about 265,000 super attack from Bulma. She hits for about 100k. And then it scales all the way down to Chilai, who hits for about 170 and does a super attack of 600. So it's really not anything that difficult. Some of them do have some interesting mechanics. Obviously from Ranfan, they're basically all immune to attack lowering, sealing, stunning, etc. Ranfan from the 3rd phase is where things get a little bit interesting. So Ranfan disables evasion. She's basically guaranteed to hit you. You could bring Tech UI Goku if you want here. I don't really think you need it, but it's up to you. Chi-Chi disables nothing really spectacularly. She can stun you with her attacks, which is interesting because specifically this Chi-Chi seals you, but I mean, it's okay. Then we have Urine, who grants immunity to being stunned. She can seal your super attacks, so she can seal you and also lower attacks as well. She'll randomly seal a unit. We have Kiawai. She locks character switching. She also lowers your defense a bit, so that can be a bit problematic. I know a lot of players do not like character switching, so it's definitely something you probably don't want to deal with. We then have Ribrianna and Kokunsi and Rosie. They have some AoE attacks, which is very interesting. So they have 2 different AoEs. They do not hit for a lot, so you don't have to worry about them too much. I do think they could probably up difficulty slightly. But again, I guess their assumption is that they're limiting you to Turtle School and Battle of the Wits and stuff like that. But for me, they could probably up the difficulty at least a little bit on this fight. Just a tiny bit overall. I don't think they need to make it massively difficult, but they could at least up the ante a little bit. Then we have Chilai. Chilai is, pretty interesting, relatively tough, I guess, in terms of health. None of them really have big health pools. so it's not a huge train smash. Chilai can stun you, she's guaranteed to stun you, but they didn't give her any evasion. So that's something that's, I guess, a bit interesting. I would have thought that Chilai would have maybe had like evasion, at least for the first couple turns. It would have been cool to see her have like 100% evasion or something for like 2 turns or something. And then players get like really annoyed. And then from then on it just drops and you can like blast her or something. That would have been pretty cool. But hey, to each their own. Obviously the challenges are to, use these units, being Turtle School and Battle of the Wits. There's a couple of ways you can build this team, but I just kind of went for, a pretty simple team build, I would say. I don't think I did anything too wild here. Basically just a Turtle School build, running essentially under a functional team leader. This team is not remotely spectacular, if I'm being entirely honest with you. It's a very needs-must team. I did enjoy using the LR Goku, so obviously the free-to-play one that's been recently revamped. I did find that interesting, and that was enjoyable to me. But yeah, I would say outside of that, there wasn't really like a huge desire or anything to use like other units. I think this team is very accessible. Obviously, we're hitting a lot of the requisites for the categories by basically using the Krillin. So a whole bunch of Krillins. Generally speaking, they do a pretty good job. Obviously, we're using Yamcha as well to kind of help carry the payload for the Earthbred Fighters team. But yeah, all in all, it was a really, really, really simple team build. Yamcha is great, lots of good damage. Free-to-play Krillin's pretty solid. We obviously have Attack Goku as well. You could use either him or you could use Yamcha. I don't actually think it matters too much. You don't need the ultra defensive security of the Goku. You're very unlikely to trigger his revive as well. So I definitely don't think you need all of that going on. So that's at least something. But yeah, I would say, genuinely speaking, this was just a really cool event to do. Nice free-to-play units that I could use as well, which was pretty interesting. And yeah, I'd really say that's about it. Honestly speaking, this was a very simple event. Like an enjoyable event, but a very simple one. So lots of good free-to-play units that we just intermingled with some solid summonable ones to give ourselves a pretty good team. Krillin is the key to this. A lot of the Krillin just meet both of the category requirements, so it does just make it a lot easier, and they're all pretty good, and I think they're all free-to-play, so they do hit the requirements and make your life a lot easier with doing that. It was nice to highlight Krillin as well. I don't think we have. We need like one really good Krillin personally. Like I think we desperately need at least one really good Krillin down the line. Like that's just my perspective on things, because like Krillin is such a cool character. I know it's hard obviously to make one. I know they've used some of his really good moments for free-to-play characters as well, but it would still be really cool to see like a really top-notch Krillin at some point, or even like just a Krillin and Goku. Like it would just be really, really cool. So yeah, I think that would be really, really solid. All in all, pretty straightforward. We're facing Chilai, so everything went to plan. Made everything within time. You could just use some more support items. Defensively, you were never at harm, so don't really need any of those. Just a fun level of event to take on. So yeah, I think ultimately at the end of the day, nothing too untoward for us to worry about. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Honestly, I think this was just a really fun team to run, and I had a really good time. It was cool to use some other units, especially the Krillins. It was cool to use Yamcha. I would probably replace the Strength LR Puma with the Yamcha, just because YOLO, why not, to have more damage. I don't really see the issue. So yeah, that's really about it for me. Honestly, all in all, a really fun, good, enjoyable bit of content that I really had a good time with. But yeah, that's it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, and I will see you guys in the next one. So until then, as always, take care, stay safe, and I will see you guys in the next video. But until then, see you guys in the next one. Bye.